Hello everyone, welcome back to our Science and Technology Current Affairs series for October 2025. This is part 5 where we continue with the remaining important updates of the month in a fully exam oriented manner. So these current affairs are highly useful for UPSC, State PCS, SSC and other competitive examination. So without wasting any time, let's begin Science and Technology Current Affairs October 2025 part 5. So next update is regulatory restriction lead to withdrawal of animal-based bios to biostimulants. So the Indian Union Agriculture Ministry has withdrawn approval of 11 biostimulate from animal sources. These 11 biostimulates are derived from animal sources. So this decision follow complaints citing religious and dietary concern from Hindu and Jain communities. So these biostimulants were used on crops like paddy, tomato, potato, cucumber and chili. So this move is part of efforts to regulate the biostimulant sector, which has grown rapidly but lacked clear oversight until recently. What are biostimulants? So biostimulants are substances or microorganisms that stimulate that improve plant growth and improve nutrient uptake also. So unlike fertilizer, they do not directly supply nutrients. Unlike pesticides, they do not control pest. They only help improve crop production quality and stress tolerance. Commonly, they are sprayed on crops in liquid form. Animal derived protein hydrolysis. A key category of biostimulants is protein hydrolysis. These are mixture of amino acid and peptides formed by breaking down proteins. So they can come from plants like soya or meat or from animal sources. Sources are chicken. Animal sources are chicken feathers, bovine hide, pig tissue, cold scale, and sardines. So the withdrawal biostimulants belong to the animal-based group. Regulatory background and market size. Before 2021, biostimulants were sold freely in India without a specific regulation. In 2021, the government included biostimulants under the Fertilizer, Inorganic, Organic or Mixed Control Order 1985. So these required complaints companies to register products and prove their safety and efficacy. The Indian biostimulant market has valued United States dollar 353.53 million in 2024 and is projected to reach United States dollar 1135.96 million by 2032. Reason for withdrawal of animal-based biostimulants: the ministry withdrew approval due to religious and ethical concern. Hindu and Jain communities raised objection to the use of animal-derived ingredients. Indian Council of Agriculture (ICAR) withheld permission for new animal-based biostimulant pending proper scientific data, especially on pre-harvest intervals, the time between spraying and harvesting. Impact on industry and future steps: major products like Coromandel's International, Syngenta, and Godrej Agrovet are affected. Ministry's action aims to bring transparency and regulation to a previously opaque sector. Union Agriculture Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan brought into light the reduction of unregulated biostimulant products from about 30,000 to 650 after strict enforcement. Scientific and ethical balance: the decision reflects a balance between scientific advancement and respect for cultural sensitivities. It emphasizes the need for robust scientific data before approving products, especially those involving animal sources. This step may encourage the development of plant-based or synthetic alternatives in the biostimulant market. So India has, one liner recap, India has withdrawn animal-based biostimulants due to regulatory restriction under fertilizer norms to ensure quality and standardization. So biostimulants in India agricultures are biostimulants are natural products that are help plant grow better and use nutrients more effectively. Example of biostimulant in India is seaweed extract, humic and fulvic acids, amino acid products, good bacteria and fungi, plant protein products, cell-based products. So benefits better food uptake, handle stress, better stronger roots and better crop production. So classification of biostimulants is plant extract, natural chemicals, protein, amino acid, vitamins, product from good bacteria, stress fighters, soil improvements. What are biostimulants in agriculture? So, substances which help in improving plant growth and stress tolerance. Why did India withdraw animal based biostimulants? Regulatory restriction under fertilizer norms. Question third, animal based biostimulants are usually derived from fish extract, bone meal, seaweed, fish extract, bone meal, and animal byproducts, not from seaweed. Next question is, which authority regulates biostimulants in India? As authority is Ministry of Agriculture under the Fertilizer Control Order FCO. Mains question is given. Discuss the implication of withdrawing animal-based biostimulants on sustainable agriculture in India. Next update is Goa grants wildlife clearance from iron ore infrastructure. So Goa's State Board for Wildlife SBWL recommended placing the proposal for wildlife clearance of iron ore handling at Kalam's railway station before the National Board for Wildlife NBWL. This site is located within the Bhagwan Mahavir Wildlife Sanctuary and National Park. The recommendation follows a Supreme Court ruling that imposed a status quo on development activities in areas designated as Tiger Reserve. SBWL meeting was chaired by Goa Chief Minister Pramod Sawant and included key official and board members also. Background of the proposal: the Southern Western Railway submitted a proposal in August 2024 seeking permission to load, unload and transport iron ore at Kelam railway station. This station lies inside the protected sanctuary. The proposal faced scrutiny due to environmental concern raised by NGO Goa Foundation. They filed a public interest litigation citing damage to vegetation and wildlife caused by mining truck movements. Legal and judicial development: in July 2023, the Bombay High Court directed Goa to notify the Mahade's Wildlife Sanctuary and other areas as Tiger Reserve. Goa challenged this order in the Supreme Court. The Apex Court in September 2023 ordered a halt on development in these areas until further review. Central Empowered Committee was appointed to examine the Tiger Reserve status and report in 6 weeks. The Supreme Court ruling impacts soil activity in the sanctuary, including ore handling. Environmental concern and board deliberation. The Goa's foundation litigation questioned if ore handling could proceed without clearance from the Chief Wildlife Warden under the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. The High Court directed the Chief Wildlife Warden to decide the project's application lawfully. During the SBWL meeting in March 2025, concern about the impact on wildlife were raised. Suggestion included using a railway yard outside the sanctuary boundary for overhandling to avoid disturbance inside protected land. Recommendation and mitigation measure: SBWL recommended submitting the proposal to NBWL for consideration subject to Supreme Court guidelines. Board members stressed the need to assess the overall environmental impact beyond pollution control condition. They proposed forming an committee to study and suggest mitigation strategies. This approach aims to balance development needs with wildlife conservation. Role of key authorities: the Chief Wildlife Warden plays important role in granting clearance under the Wildlife Protection Act. The State Board for Wildlife advise on local matters, while the National Board for Wildlife has a final say on proposal affecting protected areas. Judiciary ensured legal compliance and environmental protection through its ruling. NGOs contribute by raising public interest concern and monitoring compliance. Wildlife Protection Act 1972 is an act of the Parliament of India enacted for protection of plants and animal species. It extends to whole India except Jammu and Kashmir. It has 6 schedules which give varying degree of protection. Schedule 1 and Schedule 2 provides absolute protection. Offense under this are prescribed the highest penalties. Species listed in Schedule 3 and 4 are also protected, but the penalties are much lower, less. Schedule 5 includes animals which may be hunted. The plants in Schedule 6 are prohibited from cultivation or any type of planting. So background about that Wildlife Protection Act in 1887, the Wild Bird Protection Act was passed by the British Indian government. In 1912, a second law was enacted in 1912 called the World Birds and Animals Protection Act. So this act was amended in 1935. In 1960, there is a rising issue for protection of wildlife and the prevention of certain species from becoming extinct came into the limelight. In 1972, forest part from state subject was shifted to concurrent list by passing the Wildlife Protection Act 1972. So objectives of these are to provision of hunting, protection and management of wildlife habitats, establishment of protected areas, regulation and control of any trade in parts and products derived from wildlife, management of different types of zoos. The prelims question: the wildlife clearance in Goa of for iron ore handling was granted under which legal framework? Wildlife Protection Act 1972. Wildlife clearance for projects near protected areas are granted by National Board for Wildlife (NBWL). The iron ore handling proposal in Goa is mainly linked to export logistic and port infrastructure. Which of the following is a key ecological concern related to iron ore handling near wildlife zones? And the habitat fragmentation, increased dust and noise pollution, disturbance to wildlife corridors. Mains question GS paper 3 environment and ecology. The discuss the environment implication of granting wildlife clearance for iron ore handling project in ecologically sensitive region like Goa. One liner recap: Goa has granted wildlife clearance for an iron ore handling proposal, highlighting the challenges of balancing mining logistic with biodiversity conservation. Map-based question: the iron ore handling project in Goa is most likely to impact wildlife associated with which of the following biodiversity hotspot? It is a Western Ghat. Which of the following protected area in Goa lies close to iron ore mining and transport corridors? Molim National Park. The Bhagwan Mahabir Wildlife Sanctuary, often in news due to infrastructure and mining issues, located in South Goa. Iron ore from Goa is mainly transported to ports along which water body, Arabian Sea. Arabian Sea, which river flowing through the Goa is associated with iron ore transportation and ecological concern? River is Mandovi. One liner recap: the iron ore handling project in Goa lies near the Western Ghats, close to Molen National Park and Mugao Port along the Arabian Sea. So different all ports are then they all ports Mumbai ports, Jawaharlal Nehru ports, Mormugao ports, New Mangalore ports, Cochin ports. So all ports are given in the map. Next update is Amazon flying rivers threatened by deforestation impact. The Amazon rainforest faces increasing droughts and ecological distress in 2025. Scientists link these challenges to the disturbance of flying rivers, disruption of flying rivers, atmospheric water flows that carry moisture from the Atlantic Ocean across South America. Deforestation in the southern Amazon weakens these flying rivers, reducing rainfall and risking a shift from rainforest to savanna in vulnerable region. What are flying rivers? Flying rivers are vast stream of water vapor transported by trade winds from Atlantic Ocean westward across the Amazon basin. It absorbs water from the soil and release it into the atmosphere through transpiration. This process recycles moisture thousands of miles inland, sustaining rainfall deep within the forest. Role of Amazon forest as a water pump. The Amazon acts like a giant pump moving moisture westward. When trees are cut down, less water vapor is released. This reduces the volume of flying rivers and weakens rainfall patterns. The forest health is important to maintaining this natural water cycle. Impact of deforestation on rainfall. Southern Brazil, Peru, and Bolivia experience the most intense deforestation. This region lies along the dry season path of flying rivers. Tree loss here diminishes rainfall, reduces rainfall in downstream areas, including Peru's Manu National Park. Reduces rain cause droughts, crop failures, and threatens indigenous livelihood. So these are the impact of deforestation on rainfall. Few sign of ecological disturbance, disruption. Indigenous communities report changes in ecological calendars, unpredictable rain affects planting, fishing, hunting season. Hydroelectric power generation suffer as river flows decrease. The dry season has lengthened by 5 weeks with 20 to 30% less rainfall compared to decade ago. Risk of Amazon tipping point. Scientists warn that if deforestation exceeds 20 to 25% and global warming surpasses 2 degrees Celsius, the Amazon may irreversibly shift to savanna. So this release vast large amount of carbon stores and disturb global climate. So the tipping point will affect biodiversity, water security, and weather stability far beyond the region. Conservation and restoration strategies. Protecting intact forests and indigenous land rights is important. Large scale restoration of deforested area is necessary to revive flying rivers. Government should create conservation policies that protect atmospheric water flows alongside forests. Regional cooperation across Amazon countries is important for effective solution. Future challenges and opportunities. Infrastructure project like Brazil BR 319 highway increase accelerating deforestation fronts. Balancing developments and conservation requires careful planning. Scientific monitoring of flying rivers help identifying vulnerable zones. Immediate action can still preserve the Amazon's ecological function and global climate benefits. Next update is India's first private helicopter line launched by Airbus and Tata. India is set to stabilize its first helicopter final assembly line in the private sector at Bemagal, Kolar district, Karnataka. Tata Advanced System Limited, TSL, will be build the Airbus H125 helicopter here. This initiative aims to boost India's aerospace capabilities and meet defense and civil aviation needs. Significance of the assembly line. The assembly line will produce a made in India H125 helicopters. These helicopters are designed for different uses, including civil operation and parapulvic services. A key focus is on supporting the Indian Armed Force, especially in the Himalayan region, where light multi-role helicopters are important for operation in challenging icy terrains. Military variant and indigenous technology. Plans include manufacturing a military version called H125M. This variant will incorporate high levels of indigenous components and technologies. The assembly line will strengthen India's defense manufacturing and reduce dependence on imports. The first helicopter from this facility is expected to be delivered by early 2027. Export potential and regional impact. Besides domestic use, the Made in India H125 will be available for export across South Asia. This move position India as a regional hub for helicopter manufacturing and exports. It also improve India's stature in global aerospace industry. Tata Advanced System and Airbus partnership. This assembly lines is Tata Advanced System, a second collaboration with Airbus in India. The first is the C295 military aircraft manufacturing plant in Vadodara. TSL is the first private Indian company to build helicopters. TASL. The partnership strengthens India's aerospace manufacturing ecosystem and supports both civil and defense aviation sectors. Strategic importance for India. India's varied geography demands versatile aircraft like helicopters for connectivity and security. The new assembly line will help nation building by improving accessibility in remote areas. It aligns with India's vision for self reliance in defense production and technological advancement in aerospace. India's first helicopter final assembly line FAL in the private sector, making a program for helicopters for India and export to neighboring countries. So, its advantages only helicopter to be landed on Mount Everest. Production of the first made in India H125 is expected to commence in 2026. So, H125 is a multi-missile workhorse serving mission like passenger transport, contributing to government of India's vision for उड़ो देश का उड़ो देश का आम नागरिक इमरजेंसी मेडिकल सर्विस इट प्रोवाइड्स लॉ enforcement disaster management aerial works helicopter capacity is up to 6 passenger. Next update is the World Green Economy Summit 2025. It held in Dubai Trade Center, UAE. Theme is innovative for impact, innovating for impact, accelerating the future of the green economy. So organizers are Dubai Supreme Council of Energy, DSCE, Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, DEWA, and the World Green Economy Organization, WGEO. Main focus area is technology and innovation, leveraging AI for energy, water conservation, circular economy, and green solution. Climate finance, mobilizing investment for green project, carbon markets, and private public partnerships. Policy and equity, developing frameworks for climate action, ensuring fairness, and addressing impact on vulnerable communities. Its youth engagement focus areas is also empowering young people as drivers of change and innovation, global cooperation, strengthening dialogue for resilient, low carbon future. Next update is Himachal Pradesh records major boost in snow leopard population. Recent survey have revealed a remarkable increase in snow leopard population across Himachal Pradesh. Wildlife Wing of State's First Forest Department reported an increase from 51 individual in 2021 to 83 in 2025. This growth excludes cubs and covers high altitude habitats. The survey also marked notable wildlife discoveries, including the first official sighting of Palas cat in Kinnaur and the rediscovery of woolly flying squirrel in Lahore. Comprehensive population estimation, Himachal Pradesh conducted its second comprehensive snow leopard population survey between 2024 and 25. The first assessment took place from 2018 to 2021. The recent survey was completed within a year, demonstrating improved efficiency and coordination. It was carried out in partnership with Nature Conservation Foundation. This effort positioned Himachal Pradesh as the first state of India to estimate snow leopard numbers scientifically and extensively. Survey methodology and coverage. The survey covered 26,000 square kilometer across Spiti Valley, Kinnaur, Pangi, Lahore, and the Greater National Himalayan Park. Around 271 camera traps were installed to detect snow leopards and other wildlife. The team identified 44 unique snow leopards, the same number as the previous survey, but overall population estimate increased due to refined analysis. Density range from 0.16 and 0.53 individuals per square kilometers, with the highest concentration found in Spiti, Pin Valley, Upper Canal, and Tabo. Community involvement and conservation impact. The survey brought into light snow leopards' presence outside protected areas such as Kibber Wildlife Sanctuary and Great Himalayan National Park. This stresses the importance of involving local communities and conservation teams, included local youth and community members, with an indigenous women's group from Kibber contributing of data analysis for the first time globally. Their participation marks step towards inclusive and community-driven wildlife conservation. Addition wildlife findings. The camera trap also recorded other mammals sharing the snow leopard habitat. This includes blue sheep, Himalayan ibex, musk deer, Himalayan wolf, brown bear, common leopard, red fox, stone marten, marten weasel, and throated marten. Ensemble modeling help create updated distribution map for prey species, helping future conservation planning. Significance and future prospect. This survey provide a strong baseline for long-term snow leopard monitoring in Himachal Pradesh. It offers a scalable and cost-effective model for wildlife population estimation. So this approach can be replicated in other Himalayan states also to ensure adaptive management of snow leopards and their ecosystem. Himachal Pradesh success demonstrate how scientific rigor combined with the community participation can enhance conservation outcomes. MCQ based question. Snow leopards are primarily found in which type of ecosystem? Alpine and subalpine region. Snow leopard, which is the scientific name is Panthera ansea, is listed under which category of IUCN Red List? Is vulnerable. Which of the following protected area in Himachal Pradesh are known snow leopard habitat? Is the Peen Valley National Park, Great Himalayan National Parks, Cold Desert Wildlife Sanctuary. India's snow leopards conservation is guided by the National Program, National Project Snow Leopard Program. Main question is given: what factors have contributed to the increase in snow leopard population in Himachal Pradesh? Discuss the significance of its trend for biodiversity conservation in the Indian Himalayas. One liner recap: Himachal Pradesh has recorded a significant increase in snow leopard population, reflecting successful conservation efforts in the Himalayan cold desert ecosystem. Next update is PRIP scheme to boost high value pharma and medical devices. The Government of India recently invited application for research and innovation project under its promotion of research and innovation in pharma medtech sector scheme. It aims to transform the sector into a globally competitive and innovation driven industry with a total approved budget of rupees 5,000 crore. The scheme is expected to support about 300 projects. This project will involve a combined research and development investment of approximately 11,000 crore in areas such as new medicine, complex generic, biosimilars, and novel medical devices. Scheme objectives and scope. The scheme seeks to promote innovation in pharmaceuticals and medical technology. It focuses on creating a strong innovative pipeline. It also improves India's capacity to develop advanced healthcare solutions. It also includes medicine for rare diseases, antimicrobial resistant vaccine devices addressing tropical and pandemic related diseases. About financial assistance and project categories. Projects under this scheme are divided into early stage and later stage categories. Early stage projects can cost up to rupees 9 crore. MSMEs and startups can receive up to 5 crore in funding. For cost up to rupees 1 crore, full financial assistance is provided. Beyond that, 50% of additional costs are supported, capped at rupees 5 crore. Later state project can cost up to rupees 285 crore. Assistance for this project is up to rupees 100 crore, covering 35 to 50% of project cost depending on the priority area. Strategic priority innovation areas. The scheme identified strategic priority innovation areas (SPI). These include rare diseases, antimicrobial resistance, vaccine preventable diseases, tropical vector-borne diseases, and the pathogen causing outbreaks or pandemics. Project in this area may receive higher financial support up to 50% of cost, acknowledging their critical importance. Collaboration and stakeholder engagement. The amended scheme encourages partnership between industry, MSMEs, startups, and academic or government research institution of national repute. This collaboration aims to leverage expertise and infrastructure to accelerate innovation. Special incentives are also provided to encourage such alliances, improving the overall impact of the scheme. Impact and future prospect. By supporting around how many projects? 300 projects. The scheme aims to boost India's global competitiveness in pharma medtech. The expected research and development investment of rupees 11,000 crore reflects push towards innovation-led growth. This scheme aligns with national priorities to improve healthcare outcomes and strengthen the pharmaceutical ecosystem. Prelims question, the PRIP scheme is primarily focused on research, innovation, and capacity building in pharma and medtech. Mains question, GS paper 3, science and technology or economy, discuss the significance of the PRIP scheme in strengthening India's pharmaceutical and medical technology ecosystem. One liner recap, the government has invited proposal under the PRIP scheme to promote research, innovation, manufacturing in India's pharma and medtech sector. PRIP versus PLI key differences. PRIP scheme is a pharmaceutical research and innovation program, primary focus research and development, innovation, capacity building, promote drug discovery, medtech innovation and advanced research. It grants and financial assistance for research and innovation. Target segment are new drugs, complex generics, biopharma and medtech innovation. Stage of value chains are upstream research, design and development. Ministry of Chemicals and Fertilizer are involved. Beneficiary are startup, research institution, pharma and medtech companies. Risk profile, high risk, long gestation and research and development projects. Outcome expected, innovation ecosystem, IP creation. Strategic goal is technology leadership and self-reliance. About PLI scheme, it is a production linked incentive. Manufacturing scale and outputs, primary focus. Objective is to boost domestic manufacturing and exports. Nature of support is incentive linked to incremental production. Target segments are bulk drugs, APIs, medical devices, and electronics. Stage of value chain, mild stream and downstream production assembly. Implementing Ministry of Commerce and Industry, line ministries. Beneficiaries are manufacturing companies meeting output targets. Risk profile, lower risk, production oriented. Outcome expected are increased manufacturing jobs and exports. Strategic goals are global manufacture to become a global manufacturing hub. Prelims question, consider the following statement. PRIP focus on promoting pharmaceutical research and PLI provides incentive linked to incremental products and both scheme primarily target export subsidy. So which of the statements are correct? So 1 and 2 both are correct. Mains question, while PLI statements are India's manufacturing based through production link incentive, PRIP complement it by fostering innovation, research and development and intellectual property creation together, enabling India's transition from a generic drug producer to a global pharma innovation hub. Next up is QR code enabled signboards introduced on national highways. National Highway Authority of India NHAI introduced QR code enabled project information signboards on national highways. So this movement aims to boost transparency, road safety and convenience for commuters across India's vast highway network. Overview of QR code signboards. The new signboards feature vertical QR codes that user can scan using with the help of a smartphones. They provide instant access to detailed project information such as national highway number, chainage, project length and timelines for construction and maintenance. Contact details of key official like highway patrol, toll manager, project manager, resident engineer and NHI AI field office are also included. Emergency and safety features. Emergency helpline number 1033 is prominently displayed on the boards. It ensures quick access to emergency services. It also designed to strengthen road safety by empowering commuters with timely information and direct contact points in case of any incident, accident, or breakdowns. Real-time facility information beyond project data, the QR code provide real-time updates on nearby facilities. This includes hospital, petrol pumps, toilet, restaurant, police station, truck lay-bys, vehicle repair shops, and electric vehicle charging station. The distance to the nearest toll plaza is also shown, helping drivers plan stop efficiently. Strategic placement of signboards. NHAI plans to install these signboards at strategic locations such as toll plaza, wayside amenities, rest areas, truck lay-bys, and highway start and end points. It ensures maximum visibility and accessibility for all road road user. Impact on commuter experience. The initiative aims to improve commuter experience by providing easy access to vital information. It also supports better journey planning and quick response during emergencies. Enhanced transparency about highway project also builds public trust and accountability. Role in India's highway development. As India's highway network expands rapidly, integrating technology like QR codes enhances infrastructure management. It also reflects the government's push towards digitalization and smart road system. This step aligns with broader efforts to modernize transport and improve road safety standard nationwide. One liner recap. NHAI has launched QR code enabled signboards on national highway to provide transport real time project information to citizens. Prelims question. The QR code signboards on National Highway have been launched by National Highway Authority of India NHAI. What is the primary purpose of QR code signboards on highways? Providing real-time project and highway information. Scanning the QR code on highway signboards can provide information related to project cost and timeline, contractor and implementing emergency and emergency helpline numbers. But it does not book passenger ticket. The QR code initiative support which of the following government objective, that is the digital India, transparency in infrastructure projects, citizen centric governance. Mains question, GS paper 3, infrastructure or governance. How does the introduction of QR code signboards on national highways improve transparency and citizen engagement in infrastructure development? Next update is Saturn's moon Enceladus show high sign of life supporting chemistry. Recent analysis of data from NASA Cassini spacecraft reveals new evidence supporting the habitability of habitability Enceladus of Saturn's moon. So complex organic molecules have been identified in the icy plume erupting from its surface ocean of Saturn. This finding deepen our understanding of Enceladus' potential to support life. About Enceladus and its environment, Enceladus is a small icy moon which is orbiting around Saturn, about 504 kilometer in diameter. So it is a thick crust 20 to 30 kilometer deep, beneath which lies a global ocean. Hydrothermal vents on its ocean floor release hot mineral rich water. This environment is similar to early Earth condition where life may have originated. Cassini 2008 flyby data revisited. Cassini flew through Enceladus plumes in 2008, collecting ice grains and gases. So these grains are frozen droplets from the ocean, ejected minutes from sampling. So these recent study reanalyzed the data with advanced technique, allowing detection of new organic molecules previously unknown. Discovery of complex organic molecules. Scientists found a variety of carbon based molecules including precursor to amino acid. So we all of us are knowing, and all of that amino acid are essential for proteins and life. So scientists found a variety of carbon-based molecules, including precursor to amino acids. So these organs vary in structure and chemical properties. They could be intermediates in forming more complex life-related compounds, although abiotic formation is also non-living formation is also possible. There are few implications for habitability. Enceladus shows all three key ingredients for life: liquid, water, energy, and organic molecules. The presence of hydrothermal activity suggests a stable energy source. While no direct evidence of life or biosignatures was found, the chemical environment is promising for habitability studies. Importance of plum chemistry. The plum's ice grains are pristine sample of the ocean chemistry. They have not been altered by space, deferred by space radiation, unlike ice particles in Saturn's ring. So, plum chemistry allows a clear understanding of the chemical processes occurring beneath the ice crust. About future exploration prospect, European Space Agency plans mission to revisit Enceladus It is considered a prime target for searching for life beyond Earth. Searching for life beyond Earth. Further exploration could clarify the moon's potential to host living organisms or past life forms. So, one-liner recap is detection of organic molecules in plums from Saturn's moon. Enceladus strengthen the possibility of life supporting condition beyond Earth. Prelims question, MCQ base, Enceladus is a moon of which planet? Saturn. Organic molecules on Enceladus were detected mainly in submarine ocean plumes. Which space mission provided key data on Enceladus organic molecules? Cassini, Huygens. Which of the following features make Enceladus important for astrobiology? Subsurface liquid water, presence of organic molecules, and hydrothermal activity. Mains question, discuss the significance of the discovery of organic molecules on Saturn, moons, Enceladus for the search for extraterrestrial life. Next update is India advances hypersonic strike capability with Dhavani missile. So India is on the brink of a major defense breakthrough with the upcoming test of Dhwani, an advanced hypersonic missile. So this weapon promises to elevate India into an elite group of nations with hypersonic strike capability. So designed to travel faster than Mach 5, Dhwani combines extreme speed with high vulnerability. So it is expected to reshape South Asia security dynamics and boost India's strategic deterrence. About recent development in hypersonic technology, Dhani follows successful trial of a hypersonic technology demonstrator vehicle HSTDV, which developed critical scramjet propulsion and heat shielding. The missile's test is planned before the end of 2025. Operational deployment is anticipated by 2029-30. This marks India's entry into a club dominated by United States, Russia, and China. Technical features of Dhwani. Dhwani is a hypersonic glide vehicle, HGV. It is about 9 meters long and 2.5 meters wide. The missile uses a blended wing body designed for aerodynamic efficiency. Its heat protection system utilizes ultra high temperature ceramic composition. It also allows to survive temperature between 2000 degrees Celsius and 3000 degrees Celsius during atmospheric re-entry. Stealth features like angled surface reduces its radar visibility, making it hard to detect. So Dhani is India's indigenously developed hypersonic glide missile capable of traveling at speeds exceeding Mach 5 with high maneuverability. So strategic advantage and range are the missile can glide at hypersonic speeds after being launched to high altitudes. It can perform sharp, unpredictable maneuvers during its terminal phase. And this makes interception extremely difficult for existing missile defense systems. So Dhwani's estimate range is 6,000 and 10,000 kilometers, potentially doubling the reach of India's Agni 5 and Agni 5 missile. So impact on regional security. Dhani creates technological gap over Pakistan, which depends on conventional ballistic missile. It advances capability, improves India's strategic deterrence and regional stability. So the missile speed and stealth reduce the effectiveness of enemy air defenses, strengthening India's defensive posture in South Asia. Global context and indigenous development. Globally, China's DF, ZF, and Russia's at Avangard are established hypersonic glide vehicles. The United States is still developing comparable system like Dark Eagle and HSCM. India's achievement is notable for being large indigenous, showcasing self-reliance in defense technology. So Dhani program forms part of a broader hypersonic arsenal aimed at diverse strategic roles, including anti-ship and nuclear deterrence. Future prospect and strategic messaging. Dhani signal a transformational leap in India's military technology. It combines speed, stealth, and precision to create a formidable weapon system. So it also improves India's ability to project power globally and maintain sovereignty in complex geopolitical challenges. Its success will set a new pace in modern warfare capabilities. Prelims question, Dhwani is associated with which category of missile? Hypersonic glide missile. Hypersonic missile typically travel at a speed of greater than Mach 5. Which organization is primarily involved in the development of Dhwani? DRDO. Which are the following key features of hypersonic missiles? So hypersonic missile extremely high speed, high maneuverability, and ability to evade missile defense system. Main question is GS paper 3 defense technology. Discuss the strategic significance of India's Dhwani hypersonic missile in the context of emerging global hypersonic weapons. Next update is Baratang mud volcano erupts after decades. The Baratang mud volcano in Andaman and Nicobar Islands exploded violently on 2nd October 2025. This eruption ended over 20 years of dormancy. The event was marked by a loud explosion like a sound and the emergence of mud and smoke. So authorities quickly sealed off the area to ensure public safety. The eruption has created a mound about 3.3 to 4 meters high and spread muddy soil over 1,000 square meters. Geological department has been informed for further study. Location and significance of Baratang mud volcano. Baratang Island Island is a part of the North and Middle Andaman district. It lies approximately 150 kilometers from Port Blair, the capital city of Andaman and Nicobar Islands. The mud volcano here is unique as it is India's only known mud volcano. It is a popular tourist attraction due to its geological rarity and natural beauty. Nature and formation of mud volcanoes. Mud volcanoes are geological formation created by eruption of mud, water and gases. Unlike igneous volcanoes, they do not emit molten lava. The gases mainly methane. The gases mainly methane arise from the decomposition of organic matter deep underground. These gases force mud and water upwards and forming cone-shaped mound of or domes. Size vary widely from a new few meters to hundred of meters in height and width. So geological formation and features are tectonic settings formed due to subduction of Indian plate beneath the Burmese plate, leading to gas and fluid release from the deep layers. Mechanism is the decomposition of organic matters underground produce gas pressure that pushes mud upwards. These gases along with water and sediments escape to the surface, creating muddy eruption and bubbling events. The expelled material is cool, unlike magmatic volcanoes, contains saline water, organic sediments, gases, giving it a distinct odor and appearance. The phenomenon helps scientists study fluid migration, methane emission, and crustal deformation in active subduction zones. Bharatang Iceland's mud volcano famed during December. Post-tilted gas collection funnel, normal mud volcano cone through the year, and a post-monsoon mud volcano outlet oozing slurry, gas bubble, and pebbles. Prelims question: Baratang Island, it is located in Andaman Islands. A mud volcano primarily erupts mud, water, and gases. Mud, water, and gases. The Baratang mud volcano is associated with which geological feature? Andaman Nicobar subduction zone. Which of the following statements about mud volcano is correct? They are driven by underground gas pressure. They can indicate hydrocarbon presence. They are common in tectonically active region. Baratang Islands, where the mud volcano erupted, is located in Andaman and Nicobar Island. A mud volcano differs from a magmatic volcano because it erupts mainly mud, clay, water and gases. Mud volcanoes are often associated with tectonic activity and hydrogen-rich sediments, which geological plate interaction influence the Andaman region, Indian Burmese Myanmar plate. GS paper 1 geophysical phenomena. Explain the phenomena of mud volcanoes with reference to the recent eruption of Baratang mud volcanoes in Andaman Islands. One-liner recap: the Baratang mud volcano in the Andaman Islands erupted after nearly 2 decades, highlighting tectonic activity in the Andaman Nicobar subduction zone. Main question is explain the phenomena of mud volcanoes and discuss the geological significance of Baratang mud volcano eruption. So these are about the few updates of October month 2025. Stay consistent. Watch the next video. Thank you for